Governance is not red tape. It is important. If you want to make decisions with the right data, you need to have governance. You have to have the quality data flowing in.
Welcome to the Data and AI Chief. I'm your host, Cindi Howson. Every time you open a perfectly chilled Coca-Cola, or in my case, Diet Coke, on a hot day, you're tasting the end result of a massive data-driven operation designed to refresh your world without a hitch. If you're a data leader trying to get AI off the ground, chances are governance feels less like a seatbelt and more like a roadblock. But what if flipping that script is the exact secret weapon you need to unlock massive business outcomes? My guest today has done exactly that. Bharathi Rajan is Vice President of Data, Digital, and AI at Swire Coca-Cola, one of the top 5 Coca-Cola bottlers in North America. Over the course of Bharathi's career, she's built data and AI across manufacturing, financial services, and healthcare, saving companies millions of dollars and turning data governance into a genuine growth lever. In this episode, you'll learn how to bring digital, data, and AI under one leadership and how that drives standardization across the enterprise. Bharathi, welcome to the Data and AI Chief.
Thanks, Cindy.
And where are you joining us from today, Bharathi?
I am based out of Salt Lake City, so Utah. I'm joining from the wonderful state of Utah with all the beautiful mountains.
Oh, awesome. So why do I forget that? Maybe because I often meet you at a conference somewhere, but we'll be in Salt Lake in August. So I'm gonna have to, we're going to have to meet in your backyard for a change.
Absolutely. I'd love that. So let me know when you're here. I'd love to meet you here and show you around Utah.
Yeah, definitely. Normally, I'm only there for skiing, so summer will be a new experience.
Awesome.
Now, Bharathi, when most people hear Coca-Cola, they're thinking of that iconic red can or the beautifully shaped glass bottle and the brand. But the machinery behind to get that into customers' homes is where Swire comes in. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So Swire Coca-Cola is one of the bottlers for the Coke company here in the United States. Our parent company is based out of Hong Kong and UK, and we also manufacture and distribute in Asia as well. Our focus here is manufacturing and distributing that iconic bottle, or the iconic can and the bottle as well. And so we have 6 manufacturing plants here in the US, and then we have about 60 plus distribution centers that distribute the Coke across the American West.
Yeah. And I feel like I have to share 2 early career highlights, if you will, where Coca-Cola influenced me. One is like as a 3rd grader, I drew a Coca-Cola bottle and the branding. And of course, that won a prize. Now I'm down to stick figures. But the other thing is, when I was thinking I would do journalism in college, I did an investigative report on how Coca-Cola protects its brand. The news anchor dubbed it Coca-Cola Police, that goes in and makes sure that if they're ordering a Coca-Cola, it's not a different brand, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, branding is such an important part of what we do. And, having that red color in the bottle and the can, everything around branding is so critical for us. Again, there's a reason why Coke is known everywhere, right? Because of that branding and how we position that branding. So it's so important.
Yeah, so I feel like I should ask you, on a hot day, what's your go-to beverage?
It's Coke Zero.
There you go. Okay. Now, of course, your career is not only Coca-Cola and Swire, but it spans Goldman Sachs, healthcare. What drew you to CPG now What are the skills that transfer and what did you have to relearn?
So what drew me to CPG? It's about 4.5 years ago. I was sort of not sure what I wanted to do or where I wanted to go next. And one of the reasons that drew me to CPG or to Coke specifically is just, again, the branding. And it's just such an iconic company to work for. And I'm like, here's a fun fact, Cindy. Coke is the second most well-known word in the world after OK.
Huh?
So it's, why wouldn't I, right? So, and it's in my backyard. And so I didn't have to move. I didn't have to go anywhere. And so, and the people, right? As I interviewed through the process, I met such amazing people here in the company. I'm like, hey, I want to come here and work. And then, as in the professional sense, I also wanted to learn more about manufacturing. How does manufacturing really work? What goes in, right? If you think about life in, the day of a bottle, right? How do you manufacture what happens and how does it get to the consumers in the end? The entire process. And that's what drew me. I love understanding the business end to end, what really happens and how things work. And that's what drew me really.
Yeah. So I did not know that it's the second most well-known word. That is fascinating. And I do think the end-to-end process is super critical. Now, as you think about applying data to the business operations of what is really a $3 billion supply chain operation, tell us where you started. How did you get this alignment going back to the beginning?
I started off where, hey, what are we doing with data today, right? There wasn't a lot of process in place really to understand where the data is coming from, what are we doing, how are we using the data, right? So we may have had processes in place, but really, how are we leveraging that? How are we taking that data, that information flow, and making it decision worthy, right? So that's where the entire process for me started, making sure that we have right access to the data and we are giving the data in the hands of the people that actually are going to use the data. Over time, it's evolved in such a way where now we're thinking about, hey, how do I make sure this data and this information flow goes to that decision maker, but on time and in the right format or in the right way, right? Governance is so important. And so how are we thinking about it from an end-to-end process? And not just from a supply chain or a sales point of view, how do you interconnect them at that foundational level? If I have someone asking for sales data, how do I think about sales and then supply chain, right? So you talked about supply chain. It's so important to bring it all together to give that cohesive, interconnected view because I may be able to go out and sell Coke, but if I don't know if I can produce that, that's going to be a problem, Cindy. So for me, it's important that if I know how much I have, what my demand numbers are, my sales numbers are going to be, I need to know if I can produce these and serve my customers at the right time at the right place.
Yeah. And that demand can be influenced. It can be beyond your control. It can be weather, iconic sporting events, whether it's the Super Bowl or we've got the FIFA World Cup. All of this is happening. There might be also campaigns from certain retailers reducing the price. So as you think about tightening that integration between demand, forecasting, and then the distribution, data is part of every step of the way. How did you get it tighter across each of these functional areas?
It's honestly a work in progress, right? If I were to sit here and say, hey, we have it all figured out, that's really not true. There's just so much work to be done because every time there is a change, we've got to figure out, are we getting this data in real time? What does that really mean to get that data in real time? How are we, how are we using that near real time information to actually help our sales associates? How are we helping our leaders understand this information flow and make decisions? Have we gotten better over the last 4 years? Absolutely. But is there scope for improvement? Yes, there is a lot of scope for improvement, and that's what we're working through every day.
And you use the word data governance, which I sometimes, maybe it's battle scars of people are like, governance is code for no. And yet even Tom Davenport said maybe we should rebrand it like data enablement or data accessibility. But you approach it as building the foundation and holding the broader organization accountable for data quality. How did you get to that mindset shift?
I think it was a lot of education, right? Making sure that people understand, to your point, governance is not red tape. It is important if you want to make decisions and, with the right data, you need to have governance. You have to have that quality data flowing in. And so making sure people understand where we're coming from and how we're thinking about it, and then bringing them along the journey has been super helpful. Initially, there was a lot of, I wouldn't say pushback, because they understand where we're coming from, and there was top-down support as well for us. But it was also, it's building those relationships, right? So, hey, where are you coming from? Why are you using this data? How are you using? What are your problems? Understanding where they're coming from and how we can help them, and how this governance process or the quality process is going to actually enable them to do something much faster and better has really been the key for us.
Yeah. And so that gives you a solid foundation for AI. When you were starting out, how did you tackle, it's always the thing of ROI for really what is the scaffolding or requisite infrastructure for AI. Can you share a little bit on the ROI that you've achieved or how you were able to quantify it?
So with AI, we're still in the initial stages, Cindy. It's not that we have a lot of processes in place. We have a couple of models that we've been running for the past couple of years. Again, it goes back to, hey, can I predict my demand? Can I be ahead of that signal or understand how we can do it, and then put that into play, and then help our teams across the enterprise? So it was more not necessarily ROI driven. Yes, there was ROI consideration, obviously, but it was more about how can we enable our teams to be ahead of the curve, right? So here is demand that's going to come through, but if I have a view into it, if I can help my sales team really look through this, it's been a game changer. The other thing is, for us, when we look at AI, it's an enablement factor, right? A lot of people, when they go into AI, there's so much out there that, hey, people are losing jobs because of AI. But the way I look at it is, it's an enablement factor for us internally as to how can I help the enterprise really grow, create operational efficiencies, but also have people do more impactful work. We all want to do something that's more impactful, that's helping the organization grow. So enabling that for me is critical in the organization. That's how I look at AI.
Yeah. And some of the foundations include the models, but also the governance platforms. So you've made some strategic partnerships with a couple technology providers. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So early in our governance journey, we realized we needed a data catalog understanding. And this goes back to literacy, right? Making sure people understand what data exists and how's that data being used. So we partnered with Elation on bringing their tool into play to say, hey, how can we leverage this, and, how can we make sure that this is accessible to everyone in the enterprise? And that was really successful internally, and seeing that success. And I have a lot of our peer bottlers that are starting to look at bringing some of this technology as well. So it goes back to understanding the business and understanding where people are coming from, and how do I support them, and how do I make sure that they're successful in what they're doing, and then leveraging the technology to enable them.
Hi, data and AI friends. We are at a generational shift. Some might even say a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. To capitalize on this opportunity, you need more than just great technology. You need a mindset shift. That's why I'm proud to say that ThoughtSpot sponsors this podcast. Go from raw data to trusted insights and action with ThoughtSpot Agentic Analytics, a platform powered by a suite of specialized AI agents. It's why companies like Cisco, Lyft, T-Mobile, Sephora, and Schneider Electric count on ThoughtSpot. See what the future of analytics looks like at thoughtspot.com. So I understand you also broke new ground for a $475 million facility in Colorado. What are you building now to be ready?
We're looking at different technologies. How do we want to architect the plant of the future, right? Plants, warehouse of the future. How are we thinking about this? So there's a lot of underlying work that needs to happen. Engineering, software, buildings, everything comes into play. And so there's a lot of thinking that needs to really happen as to how we're thinking about this. This is a brand new facility, so greenfield, and how are we thinking about leveraging newer technologies, AI capabilities? All of that comes into play for us.
So this is a little bit, it sounds like AI at the edge and sensors while you're actually focusing on filling those bottles. Is that right?
Yeah, so there's going to be AI, but it's all technology. For how do we use the right technology, and what does that really look like? It's still TBD what kind of technology we're going to use, and how is that going to really work, right? We haven't really done this large scale, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, good. So, Bharathi, you also have a number of accolades and shape some of the work around women in data and AI. So I'll just name a few. Data IQ Top 100 for multiple years, inaugural AI Women Power List, and you're active in WILDA and Women Tech Council. What's your take on the honest state on how women are keeping up in AI from both a leadership but also practitioner view?
Honestly, I think there's a lot of work to be done for women in AI and data and AI and technology in general. There's a lot of us, but it's still the visibility factor. It's still, how do I get the word across? How do I make sure that people are aware of it's possible? I mentor a number of people, but also through Women Tech Council, we also host high school girls and talk to them about STEM careers. And it's so important for them to see representation that, hey, there are women and there are successful women who are in this career. And how does that look like? And what's your journey been? Right. So it's important for us to be out there and talking about it. And that's what I really try to, because it's important that it's not just us as in the current people who are there in this leadership roles, and also everyone else who's trying to make a mark in the world of data and AI. But it's also making sure there's a pipeline of people or, pipeline of girls and young women who are interested, and we help them figure out a path forward.
Yeah, that's very inspiring. I care about the younger generation as well, being a role model. With AI threatening some of the entry-level jobs, what are the skills that you tell high schoolers they really should focus on in an AI world?
I think critical thinking is important, right? As AI does a lot of these mundane tasks, if you want to call such, you want to call it. How are you thinking critically about what that next steps looks like? What is it that you want to do? And so critical thinking becomes really important. But also, I think relationships, Cindy, are very important, right? How do you keep up? If I am going to be on a phone all day and I'm going to be texting, yes, it's some sort of a communication, but that face-to-face interaction and meeting with people and getting to know them, it becomes important too. So to me, in a world of AI, critical thinking is important so you can get your job done. and then building those relationships. And the last one is passion. Are you passionate about data and AI, right? So, if, are you passionate about technology? Don't get into a field just because it's the next big thing or it's the hottest thing, but get in because you're passionate about it and learn and grow in that field. So that's my advice to all the young women out there.
That's great advice. And I used to say data is part of everyone's job. I think we can now safely say that AI is part of everyone's job. And I was thinking about one high schooler through the Mark Cuban Foundation AI boot camps. She cared about food scarcity and how we can improve that. So she created something using AI and Claude Code and a website of just improving the food scarcity.
That's amazing. Yeah. You see, if you're passionate about something and then you know how to use technology to enable that, that makes the difference. And so,
absolutely. Any other advice you would give women earlier in their careers trying to break into data and AI?
I'd say, again, be passionate, talk. You're your best advocate, right? And if you don't advocate for yourself, you don't know what you want. No one else is going to know. So,
for sure. Thank you, Bharathi. We're going to shift to a fun lightning round.
Yeah.
What's a hobby you've picked that has absolutely nothing to do with data or AI?
A couple of them. I love music, so I listened, and I am also a singer. So I learned Indian classical music. So I love music, and I love to read. I love to read all kinds of books. And this may sound interesting. I read books, so I switch off. So a lot of people watch TV to switch off and to just relax. I actually read books to relax. So
no, that's as do I. But I feel like I should ask, can we catch any of your singing online?
no, I don't have anything online.
Okay, just for private crowds and maybe the shower.
I love singing, but there's nothing online that you're going to find me a video of me singing.
I don't know. I think social media, we'd probably find it. We'll have to do a karaoke at the next event. How about what is a book that you're currently reading?
I'm reading, there's an autobiography that I had been reading over a period of time because it's, how do I say, it's interesting, but it also takes me time to digest. So this is about Dalai Lama. So I'm reading that, but I'm also starting to read my coach recommended, Let Them. And that's a book by Mel Robbins. So I'm reading that as well. So, and I'm reading a couple of other fiction books. So I read multiple books at a time.
Yeah, same. Good. How about what's the most low-tech thing that you still insist upon the old-fashioned way?
Oh, wow. I guess this may sound weird again to me, but I love to go and shop in a physical location. I do not like to shop online, so it limits what I can buy. I do shop online, but it's not as much. I prefer to actually go into a shop to shop, really.
Yeah, sometimes touching it, feeling it, trying it on, or seeing it in real life, depending on what it is. There's no replacement. How about an accomplishment that you're particularly proud of from the last week?
I talked about mentorship last week. I was at a event where I mentored women who are coming back into the workforce after a break in their career. And so I really enjoyed that. And it just makes me feel like, okay, I'm contributing, I'm helping. And so it was a good event, and I really enjoyed that.
Okay. Bharathi, thank you so much for sharing your insights on the Data and AI Chief.
Thank you, Cindi, for having me.
If you've enjoyed this conversation, please rate or like it on your favorite podcast platform. If you would like more inspiration and thought leadership, follow me on LinkedIn or visit dataandaichief.com.